Anthony Joshua says that Errol Spence that you seen versus Terence Crawford, that's not the Errol that we know. He'll be much tougher in the rematch. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Anthony Joshua, he recently spoke out on the outcome of Spence versus Crawford, and Joshua had this to say, quote, "That's not the Errol Spence we know. He'll be back better. If you look at it for what it is, and I rate Terence Crawford before the fight, Terence is an elite fighter, but so is Errol. Now Errol just wasn't. I know that wasn't the guy I watched many times before. I didn't see everything in training camp because we had different times, but I did see him working hard. But just from a performance point of view, I think they should have confidence in themselves, knowing in the rematch, if they get whatever happened in training camp, which was going wrong, if they get that right, I think they'll give Bud a much tougher fight. Errol didn't land on his back. He wasn't knocked out on his back. He got stopped on his feet. So run it back and start again. I think they should definitely go again. I don't think Errol Spence should retire." End quote. Now, I like this from Joshua. He's basically telling the world that pretty much the thing we all know. Like, this is not a knock on Terence Crawford. He showed up. His training camp worked. Everything on the fight night worked. He won fair and square. Cool. But the whole world of boxing knows that the Errol Spence that showed up, that wasn't his best performance, even in a losing performance. I mean, he lost pretty much every moment outside of the first round and got dropped 3 times. So I agree with Joshua here in terms of you got to recalibrate and readjust. The only thing where I disagree with Joshua, Errol Spence took damage in this fight from an elite level fighter who was sending some menacing shots with pinpoint accuracy. So if you only give yourself a couple months and try to go back, it's just the same thing that happened to Joshua. And I keep it consistent on my channel. I told you on my channel that when Joshua got beat by Ruiz, I was like, I don't really think I need to see the rematch. And I was not really a fan of the immediate rematch because it becomes do or die. Now, I was proven wrong again in that instance because I said Joshua shouldn't took the rematch, and he stubbornly took it, and he fought Ruiz in a rematch in Dubai, and he beat him. So, I mean, I guess it's good that Joshua didn't listen to me and other naysayers who thought the rematch was too dangerous for him. So, at the end of the day, fighters are defiant by nature. They're not going to listen to the outside world. Even Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford, even though he was the victor, there was negative press and negative, oh, you're going to get stopped by Errol Spence Jr. He obviously didn't listen to that and had other plans. So I expect fighters to be fighters at the end of the day. And that being said, I don't know what Errol Spence would do. And I can't even say it's what he should do. But in my personal opinion, I don't know the rematch would be different because all I have to go off of is what I seen. I wasn't in training camp with Crawford. I wasn't in training camp with Errol Spence. And from that fight, it looked like Crawford had your number. And it could be a conflict of stylistically. Errol Spence is not going to get faster than Crawford. That's just not going to happen. He's not going to all of a sudden have 3 months after a blistering, bruising fight like Crawford gave him and all of a sudden become more athletic or faster than Crawford is. So with that being said, he would have to really hone in on his timing, and Crawford would enter the rematch with a lot of confidence. So it is what it is. There's a rematch clause. Joshua is saying he should take it and run it back. That's not the same fighter he's seen. I agree to that because we've watched so many Errol Spence fights for years. And I said it before, this is not a knock on Terence Crawford, but the Errol Spence that showed up, I think guys that he's already beaten, if he showed up and those guys like Ugas coming off the Pacquiao, I want to accept my promoter, fights like that where Ugas was coming off of a Pacquiao fight and he looked sensational versus Pacquiao, he might lose to Ugas looking like that. So I don't know if it's weight drain or whatever was going on, but it happened. And now that it happened, you guys let me know in the comment section what you think should happen next. Should Errol Spence take the rematch like Joshua is saying? I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. At one token, I understand fighters are going to be fighters and they're defiant, and Errol's not going to like living with those results, and he feels he can do better. and he may never get a Crawford fight if he doesn't do the rematch clause, right? Because Crawford's talking about retirement and things like that. So it almost becomes an issue where you have to put yourself in a do or die position, because if you don't trigger this rematch, there's no guarantee that you're going to link up, and who knows what Crawford will do for the remainder of his career. And he's talking about retiring on top and stuff like that. So if contractually you can hold him to a rematch and you think you can get it together, or you know something specific happened in camp that created that performance, then yeah, I guess push the button on the rematch. However, I don't have all the details to know why Errol Spence looked like he did, and Joshua's pretty much corroborating that a different fighter that he was watching when he tapped in with him in training camp. So maybe they had some errors, or maybe some things went wrong, and this loss will motivate Errol Spence to come back stronger. But on the other side, Crawford looked like he had your number stylistically. He was getting off, his timing, everything was on point for Crawford. So going off of that performance, it becomes risky business, no Tom Cruise, to give yourself so little time to try to reverse everything we've seen with a different outcome. You know, you only have 3 months to get it all together. That's a lot of pressure on the fighter, but we've seen similar situations. Roberto Duran beat Sugar Ray Leonard. He wasn't content with that, and then he went on to 8 months later beat Roberto Duran and make him no moss. So I've seen crazy stuff in boxing. You guys let me know what you feel. Like I've said, have mixed feelings about it. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'm the best in the business, and I'm out.